to build off my last video, guys, I will be seeing Dr. Alfi next month, and I'm excited for this consultation. It feels like everything that I've done, all the infinity stones I've collected, this is the last stone to complete my journey on this mission to cure my sleep apnea. And I might have to do things afterwards, but I feel like this is the pinnacle. This is the end game for Marvel. This is the Infinity War to end game series or era of this sleep apnea self-improvement journey. And I'm excited because Dr. Alfi, after watching a lot of his podcasts recently, it just feels like it's a match made in heaven in terms of philosophy, in terms of the way we think, the things that we believe. Like, I believe in, a low carb diet, an exception to my raw milk that I've been eating this like whole year, right? But besides that, I like to eat meat. He believes in biohacking, eating right, not smoking, not drinking. I don't drink. He believes in improvement, being better every single day. The dude works out, even though he's a jaw surgeon. Like, he has a routine down. He's active in his presence on social media and in other ways. He's looking to innovate and expand this airway philosophy to all of medicine, and that just makes, I can align with that. I can definitely support that. And if there's anyone who's gonna do this operation on me to get me to that vision of better jaws or optimal airway, whatever you can define it as within that realm, I would want it to be this guy, because maybe there is somebody better out there that I just don't know of, but their philosophy just might not be aligned with me, and that might just scare me away, and I might not even have their insurance, so it just makes things unfeasible. And given all my options and everything I've learned, this just makes the most sense to me, because look, I've done the sleep study, so I have proof to show his office that I need this. I've done the work. I'm not a patient that's going to waste their time. I'm deep in this. I've done the MARPE, the skeletal expansion. I don't mind doing any more from the surgery. Like, if I get expanded even more, that's great. I've invested a lot of money into my health within the last year and a half to improve my airways. So I'm like the ideal patient that's going to understand what his expectations are, and I'm going to be patient and be willing to learn and follow the plan to the T. And also, like, I've done everything else that I could have done at this point. Tongue tie release, myofunctional therapy while I was doing the tongue tie release. Done the skeletal expansion, doing the orthodontic treatment. Like, I'm all in this. I've done everything to this point. The only thing that needs to be done left is just cut the jaws and reposition them into the place where they're supposed to be. And by having a surgeon that is airway focused, we will likely have the same vision, the same goal for results in terms of aesthetics and jaw positioning. Because there was other surgeons that I talked to that one wanted to extract some teeth in order to bring my jaw forward, and I get that, but at the same time, I don't want to lose my healthy teeth. Like, why? Like, just expand my jaws forward, and then if I have to retract for some reason, then we'll do that. I don't want to retract and then do it, because maybe I could have done it without taking out teeth, right? So that's the one thing I liked about Dr. Alfi. Like, he believes that your teeth are important, and they're supposed to be there for a reason. We're not advancing as a species, really. We're devolving. We're becoming degenerated human beings because we're not growing our jaws to where they're supposed to be. I cannot believe there's some people that actually think, which I actually can't believe, but if they knew what I knew now and what doctors like Dr. Alfi think, they would realize that wisdom teeth extraction, wisdom teeth impaction, and crowding for your other teeth is not evolving. That's your DNA failing because you didn't take care of your body via your parents, neglect, whatever it is, allergies, whatever. And the fact that a lot of his podcasts have mentioned that allergies play a big part into it, and I've had allergies when I was a kid so bad, I would only breathe through my mouth. I would catch my breath. I would breathe through my mouth just to breathe because my nose was always clogged. And nobody else in my family experienced that, just me. I was like, why? Why is this happening to me? I can't go to sleep. Like, my mom's there with me at night where she's just trying to help me get to sleep because I couldn't sleep because I just couldn't breathe. Like, imagine going through that as a little kid. That must have been so traumatic looking in hindsight. Like, kids don't have to go through that. And I see people that deal with it, and I just want to, help them and tell them, hey, just do this. But back to the point, given that Dr. Alfi discusses these things as causes for why people eventually need to have jaw surgery, makes me resonate with him and his experience. And I'm like, I need to be with that guy's team. I need to be backing this guy. I need to be on the journey with this guy, either supporting the message or be a patient and benefit from his skill work and his team and be one of the lives he changes. Because there's not many surgeons that are preaching this airway stuff and are as skillful and have done as many as he has. That's another thing that I needed to hear or find out about jaw surgery. Like, if I'm gonna do this, I need to go with somebody who has the reps in this and does this a lot and enjoys it and wants to do it. There's some surgeons who are just so scared to do it. I know they're doctors, and they and their website advertises that they do that, but really I really think for most surgeons, their team advertises all the potential benefits of jaw surgery, but the jaw surgeon himself or herself really focuses on a niche of like 2 or 3 services where they make their bread and butter, and they can do everything else, but they're not as proficient, or they just don't want to do it, and they just refer you to somebody else. That's the vibe I got from the first 3 consultations I did. Not the third one, not really, but I feel like the third one, even though I liked the guy, he was still outdated, because according to Dr. Alfi's and his method, when he was explaining his method in one of his videos, he said like the old traditional where they would put like and do an incision here, put on your forehead to like measure from here to your jaw, and close your mouth and wired it shut. Like, this third surgeon, I liked him, but he used the old methods and the surgery would take like more than several hours. And what else? He wouldn't wire me shut, but he would use the old traditional methods. And honestly, if I'm gonna do this, I need to have it done in the method. Even if it's wrong, I don't accept a wrong result, but I know there's a possibility. But I want to have it done with the minimal possibility of error. If there's this plan that is shown to me by a surgeon, and this is what I'm supposed to come out afterwards, I want the least amount of variability from that plan. And in that case, custom jaw surgery, plug and chug, I guess, where you can just, really the hard part, I think, is doing the cuts, doing the precise cuts where they need to be. And then you could just fit the plate onto the bone because it's pre-printed. It's made to fit the skull. So it's not hard to find the spot after that. That version seems to be the best version so far in 2025. And Dr. Alfi does that version. And not only does he do that version, he does it a lot. He does over 100 surgeries a year, I believe, that is a lot of reps. With so many different cases, like, you need somebody, whatever service you're going to have done on your property, choose somebody that has reps, that understands the little things that another practitioner that does it every now and then doesn't pick up with practicing once every month or once every 6 months or once a year. So I have the insurance for Dr. Alfi's practice. I like a lot of his philosophy, and we share a lot of the same beliefs and habits and how to take care of your body, optimize biohacking, sunlight, grounding. I'm over here outside doing all that. And attitude. I really like the thing that you mentioned about attitude. Like, it's so hard for sleep apnea patients to have an optimal outlook on life when your life's not been the best as it could be, or how you envisioned it so many years ago, where When people ask you, how do you see your life in 5 years? I remember they asked me this in college, and I'm over here 5 years from now, I'll be like 22, 23. And I'm thinking, man, I'll have a house. I'll probably be married or, fiance or something. And it never worked out like that. Not saying that I want those things now. Maybe some things I do, but some don't because I learned about life. But I'm just like, maybe if I was healthy, those things would have actually came at the time I predicted. But because I have this thing that's been just draining my will to thrive, not will to live, will to thrive. That's the difference. Everyone wants to live. But if you have something that's holding you back, like sleep apnea is the worst thing in my opinion. It's the worst because it can affect you at any age, any size. It can affect anybody if you don't address it right away. It's not like Alzheimer's where you get it when you're old as hell and you've lived a good life. Sleep apnea is the worst thing. Worse than cancer, honestly. Because honestly, I think apnea leads to cell destruction, the bad processes of cell division. That's what really cancer is. I think just by not giving your cells the oxygen that it needs to thrive, you eventually get cancer. So really, sleep apnea, drowning, or no oxygen, right? Like you're in space. That's the worst thing you can have as a disease, and so many of us have it, some worse than others. And not only is it worse, it also affects your physical state, your appearance. And it's not like it's not like you have AIDS, right? And you can't tell. You can still look like a very great person. You can be smart, and you can get along with everyone, and you could thrive in many other areas. But maybe when you start getting intimate with somebody and you have AIDS, you have to tell them, and then you get rejected because it's too dangerous, too risky, and wada. But at least it's not the worst, right? There's ways to mitigate around those things. With apnea, you can't because it's constant. It affects you during your waking hours, and it affects you during your sleeping hours. So if there's a surgery that I actually now believe in, I was anti-surgery before this whole airway thing, but I think if there's one surgery that you need to do, and if there's somebody that needs to do it, it's got to be Dr. Alfi, and it's got to be jaw surgery with a genioplasty too. If your chin is not just if your chin didn't develop as well as it could have. And for me, I also plan on getting the genioplasty done, or gynoglossus. I forgot how to say it correctly, because my genetics support that procedure. Because I know what my genetics will look like if I had developed healthy in the way I'm supposed to be because of my dad. Because my dad grew a full set of straight teeth with wisdom teeth. It's one thing to have straight teeth for your molars and everything. It's a different thing if you have straight teeth with straight wisdom teeth. So he has more teeth in his mouth and they're all straight. That means he has a way bigger jaw, way bigger airway, more robust face, a face that fits his age and personality. Your skeleton really does define who you become, because if you look like a fucking specimen, you're gonna act like a specimen, because it's just like a positive feedback loop. And you got to break these loops especially bad ones, if you want to change and improve it. So anyways, because I know how my dad looks like, I know what I should look like. If my dad did not look good and he had like the same problems I do, I would probably never even consider surgery, because I'm like, well, he grew up in an era where there was less garbage that we ate in a different country, and I still look like him. And that means I'm supposed to be this way, and I'm supposed to feel the way I am. But because I know he's never had the problems that I had in terms of breathing, and he has a way, we look very alike, but I think like from here down, he's just on a different level in terms of skeleton, in terms of jaw growth, jaw width. He's just on a different stratosphere. Amateur to pro, if you get what I'm saying. Because of that, I'm like, I know I'm missing something, and that's what I'm missing, that jaw. And here's I just want to bring this up. When I compare my head with my dad, I'm just like, why does he look like he have a way bigger head than I do? But even though we're almost the same exact height, it really is the jaw. If you have a really good jaw, your head's going to look bigger, but in a good way. if that makes sense. Like, look up Rampage Jackson and look at his son. You'll see what I'm talking about. But anyways, I'm choosing Dr. Alfi because, like I said, insurance, philosophy, he's up to date. He's a younger doctor too, so he's sharp, and he believes in taking care of his health. So that means he wants his ability to be at its peak every single day and improving. And that I need somebody like that to do the operation on me. I can't be having an old timer that's already thinking about retirement and telling me, you know what, I could do the surgery on you, and it's gonna take 8 hours. I'm gonna take my sweet time, and yeah, you're gonna be wired. Like, they could care less. I'm just another patient, and I don't fit their philosophy, their vision. I'm just another paycheck. Of course, I'm gonna be another paycheck for the doctor, whoever I choose. But there's a difference when you're helping somebody and you get paid for it, and it aligns with your vision. Because there's things where you get offered money to do and you just don't believe in it and you reject it, right? If I'm gonna go with a doctor and pay them money, max out my insurance deductible, right? Spend a lot of my hard-earned money with a professional, I better hope this professional believes in my case like I believe in them. So, and you would think that every doctor's like that with the patient that invests that much money in them, but it's not always the case. Some doctor, because doctors have so many patients, they're, what's it called, turning down several thousands or thousands here and there isn't a big deal to them, because they're on a different level. They've acclimated to that type of demand. If somebody came to you and they're like, I'll pay you $10,000 to do this for me, most of us people would be like, on my way. But for doctors, it's not like that. So you really got to find a doctor that believes in your vision, understands your problems, or at least has the capacity to understand it based on their philosophy, like Dr. Alfi. Maybe Dr. Alfi says, you know what, you don't need surgery, even though I know I do. I have the evidence to back it up. But let's say he doesn't. He says, you know, you're fine. You really don't need it. Well, in that case, I can live with that, because, well, I can live with that answer for a little bit. I don't know if I'll accept it, as, move on with my life. But let's say he says you don't need it. Well, at least I know somebody who has researched the same things that I have about airway and understands that whole realm. If somebody, if an expert like that says you don't need it, you probably be okay, and you could just live your life and focus on other areas and be like, maybe it was all in my head. Because if someone like that tells you you don't need it, they know more than you, and you think the same way. If from their perspective, a perspective that you can't see, they say, hey, you don't need it, chill, go live your life. If that's the case, then you're like, okay, I've done everything I could, the best of the best said that, fine, go on and go ahead with my life. But because I know, with everything I have, with all my symptoms and everything, I just know, I have a good feeling about this, that I'm going to be the ideal patient that's going to be treated by Dr. Alfi. I just know that I'm just the fit. I've traveled to so many places in my state to address this problem, and I never wanted jaw surgery from the start, but everything has had a natural progression. Oh, you need this, you also need to do this. Oh, you could actually do this because this will benefit this. And with every step of the way, I'm just like, oh my God, I'm reaching the climax, the pinnacle of what I need to do, which is the jaw surgery. So yeah, guys, I'm excited. This consultation is in Houston, Texas. And let's see. If he says yes, and he's on board, and I can get this surgery done within the next, dude, I will be so excited if I can do this within the next 5 months or so, because that will be early part of next year, or maybe even December. I'll be a little optimistic if we can do it by December, but let's see, he can do it by January, February, March. Honestly, like, that would be the ideal time frame, March or January. But because I've been in orthodontic treatments, I've done everything else that I've needed to do. unless I have to do a lot of repositioning of my teeth, I think I'm ready to do it now. So if I could do it ASAP, that would be one of the greatest things so far in my life, to just get this out the way, to just do it within consultation in September, and then be like, you know what, you're ready to do this. The numbers check, you got the insurance, you got everything. He does the plan, he orders the plates. We can get you in by December, maybe even November. What if somebody else cancels? You never know, but the guy's busy. But let's say he can do it that fast. That means I can do other things much faster. I can resume with my training. I can do other things and accelerate other points of my life, and just take on the world through like that I've always envisioned, which I've been doing. But I just want to say, for any sleep apnea patient out there, you don't know how much of life you miss until you realize what your life could have looked like if you just felt fully rested. There would be no more staying up late, because if you can when you have enough oxygen, based on the CPAP, guys, when I have CPAP air going through my nose and I'm not congested from my nose from allergies, I can fall asleep within the first 2 minutes. But when you're not having enough oxygen, you stay awake for hours because your body's in survival. It's not trying to choke to death. So you lose night hours. That means you wake up later in the day. But let's say you wake up early, even though you sleep late, your next day's screwed because you feel like garbage the first 8 hours. Your head feels like a freaking headache. So you're not really giving your best to life. Like, man. There's this little... I'm going to end the video soon here, but there's this family member that moved here recently, and he's going down the same path that I am. And he's not my kid, but if I was rich, I would adopt a kid from his parents, because their parents are just uneducated, because they just don't know. They haven't experienced what I've experienced, so they wouldn't know the importance of airway or anything. So I see this kid mouth breathing. I see him eating some garbage. He has a belly, but he's skinny kid. But I already see him developing a belly from like fatty liver or whatever, from eating garbage food his mom gives. Like, same path trajectory. I already see his teeth crowding right here, just like I did around his age. Actually, his are earlier, which is worse. I'm just like, and when he came here, he had a nice projected face, and little by little, I've noticed that the face is going like this, growing downwards, which is scary to see once you know about jaw development and your habits and your health and your nutrition. And I'm just like, man, I just want to help this kid out so bad, so he doesn't have to do any of this when he's my age, right? Still early enough to intervene. But anyways, guys, Dr. Alfi, see his team next month. I'm excited, and I'm gonna just keep making videos and posting updates about this whole progress and this whole journey. I feel like 2026 is the year. Hopefully 2025, right? Maybe he can squeeze me in December, right before Christmas. I don't care, but it'd be ideal. 2025, right? Get it done right away. But 2026, I feel like that is the year where, boom, 180, a new life trajectory. I'm not saying that this will solve all my problems, but it's going to take care of the biggest problem in my life right now, which is just sleep, airway. Just being able to just feel 100% or close to it the moment you wake up. If you don't have sleep apnea, guys, you're blessed. If you never had problems breathing or any of this garbage that people are not supposed to experience in the natural world, you are so blessed. You've won the lottery, honestly. Because if you don't have sleeping problems, you're probably a good athlete. You probably look really good, really healthy. So everything else comes easier, because that's how the law of nature works. Nature rewards the fittest and healthiest most of the time. It should be, right? That's how it should be. Actually, that's how it has been. So, yeah. That's really it, guys. I'm excited for this. and no one's gonna stop me unless I'm really advised to not do the surgery, right? They explained, if for some reason I'm like, no, you don't need to do this, you're fine, whatever, for some overwhelming, convincing reason, then yeah. But otherwise, I am on a trajectory to do this surgery with Dr. Alfi. So yeah, thank you guys for watching.